What is up, couch potatoes? Let me try that again. What's up, couch potatoes? Today is the weekly status report. Sorry that it's late. I completely forgot about it until Hunter texted me, or I think I woke up this morning and realized I didn't do it. Anywho. Last week, we talked about getting a place for the laboratory and getting a place for the, getting a place for the laboratory and then 3D printing and resin casting the props. So here's where we are in the process. We have been battling the 3D printers all week long. We have a variety of attempts. I can tell you right now, it took 9 different attempts to print out the Firestone. It took 4 to print out the Waterstone. And I don't remember how many times I've tried to print the Thunderstone, but the Thunderstone actually fell off 90% of the way. And I have not been able to get it to start a print for the rest of the Thunderstone. And I think what happened was, while I was racing back and forth to get stuff in here and then take it back out for something, I don't remember what the reason was, but I think what happened was that the floor is very wobbly. This room used to be part of the main garage. It was then, a portion of the garage was turned into this room, and so there's not like proper circulation. We're not really connected to the house. The electrical is hooked up to pretty much like where the rest of the garage is. All of that good stuff. And so the floor is not exactly stable. I've actually been meaning to put money aside to get earthquake hooks, especially for the area over here. All of these shelves are not as stable as I'd like them to be, so I would like to mount them to the wall for the event of an earthquake, because I do feel like things will topple over, so I do need to get on that. So I think that was part of the main problem, as well as just ambient temperature in the room. So like right here, down here, we talked about our cooling issues, right? And so part of the problem is this air conditioner has gone kaput. Lowe's has still not sent me the receipt to get this replaced. Thanks to my Uncle Briggs, we have an air conditioner keeping it cool, and we're able to resume production on the movie, which is fantastic. But 3D printers are not in the best environment. Now, we are working on the shed. Right now, the next step is getting electrical. That's about, I believe Grandma said that she found somebody who could do the electrical for about $2,000. It's going to get insulated. We're going to get, I just learned that there are these vent things that specifically take toxic air, pull it out, and send it off into purified air, which I would like to get, especially since we are dabbling in resin printers and now we're doing resin casts. So we do need funding for that. If you're really into what we're doing here, by all means, please check us out on our Patreon. You get the main videos 2 weeks before everybody else, so once the film is done, you will get it 2 weeks before everybody else and get to be the first to see it, as well as that's pretty much it. We're still trying to figure out what to do for Patreon exclusives. I'm thinking about doing a podcast on there for Patreon exclusives, but I would like to get at least 10 patrons before we start doing that, because I'd like to, you know, get people to see it and do stuff. But I digress. We have these at the very least. So what I did today was we got some extra supplies for the film, especially for these stones. And one of the things that I did was I actually went out and got I found a rock. I found some cool things. So actually, let me go pause the recording and show you kind of what I found. Where's the pause button? I know there's a pause button. I know that one exists. Where'd it go? I don't see it. Okay, cool. So my pause button has disappeared. But that's okay. I went out, and because I realized that we didn't stop somewhere to get a rock. It is currently Sunday, so everywhere is closed. But I went out, I just went out to walk. I was like, maybe I can find one lying around. And so then I realized I live in a suburban area. All the rocks are part of people's yards. And I don't want to steal anything. So, but I found a yard sale sign. So I went to the yard sale, with the rest of the cash that I had on me, which is about 35 bucks. I picked up 2 Lego sets. So I got the ship in a bottle set. Somebody sold it for $20. I was like, that's cool. And then I got a little microfighter of Chewbacca. for $5, and then I got this really cool crystal piece that was part of an aquarium, and I was like, yo, that's something I can make a mold of and then make more resin ones of different colors, and then I can use that for my tabletop terrain, because at one point we wanted a battle on Ilum for Star Wars Legion, so I was like, yo, I could use it for that, so I put that with the rest of the collection. But they had a bunch of rocks in their yard, so I was like, hey, after I bought all the stuff, I was like, can I dig around and find a rock? And they're like, what do you need a rock for? And so, and I have the failed 3D print with me, and so I showed them and I explained to them the project. I was like, hey, we're doing this film, we're building these stones, and they were big anime fans, and so they were like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, by all means go through the rocks. So I actually ended up, they let me dig in their front yard to go get a rock. It's in the shed right now, but I'll be making a mold of it, and it's roughly the shape I was looking for. I'm a little bummed because like the process that I went with these, I actually went into Blender, and if you saw my live streams, I'll if I'm sitting down at my desk, I'll live stream the process. But what I did was I actually custom modeled these to be the shape of the stones from Diamond and Pearl, because you could go into the if you hadn't played the game before, in the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and in the remake, you can go underground and you can dig for treasure. And part of that was you could dig the evolutionary stones. So these are actually the shape of the original stones, and that's what my reference is. So my goal is to make epoxy resins of those. I have the fire element that's inside the stone, 3D printing off of the resin printer here as we speak. About halfway done. Once that's done tonight, I'll be mixing the resins to make the yellow for the lightning bolt. I definitely have learned. So this is water wash resin plus. I got this on Amazon. I'll put I'll try to mess with my Amazon affiliate links and get you some links in the description. But basically, you can take this, you mix it with a lot of this. I think to get the red dark enough, it was like 20 drops, but this is a resin pigment. This came in a 10-pack, which is pretty cheap, because honestly, when I was looking for individual colors, it was like the same price getting the individual as it was getting like the 10-pack. So I got the 10-pack, but you use this, you mix it in with the clear resin, and I will admit, one of the perks of this room, there's no windows. So when it comes to UV contamination for the UV resin printer, I don't really have to deal with that. It's fantastic. Now, minus the fumes, and I'm slowly killing myself. But the issue when it comes to this is that you do need to mix in a lot of it. So like I had to do 20 droplets to get a dark red. So to be completely honest, I don't know, I'm still experimenting with it, because my main concern is the leftover UV resin. And so I thought about it. I'm like, well, I don't mind making molds of something that I would use a lot of, and then I'll just pour the extra in the mold, stick it outside in the sun, and then allow the UV of the sun to harden and cure the resin is my thought process. We'll see how it goes. But I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out what to make for that. Because that was kind of the other thing too, is I was like, well, I'm gonna have these silicone molds, and my fear is that I'll use too much silicone and then waste it, so I'd rather use it to make a mold of something. And so I was trying to figure out what I could make that had a flat edge on the bottom that could be built, you know, that where it's like it's flat on one side and then the rest of the sculpt is on the other. So then that way it's like, okay, well, I'm just pouring it to the top, and then, oh, I don't have enough? Oh, it's okay. I'll just put it aside. I'll let it cure, put it aside, and then, oh, we're doing the next color. I have extra left. Pour in the rest. So you'll get this multicolored thing by the end. But I was like, okay, well, I could do rocks for tabletop terrain. I could do barriers from Star Wars Legion to use that for more tabletop terrain. But then I thought about, like, what are some knickknacks that I could make of, like, treasure from other franchises. I just went to the bar that I work at as Indiana Jones, because we were showing that in the backyard, which was a lot of fun. And so me, my manager, and my boss ended up watching it until the wind blew down the projector screen, and then we had to stop. But I have a complete Indiana Jones costume that I'll add onto every so often, but I really like the idea of doing another convention video where I go as Indiana Jones, but I have all these artifacts. So I figured, like, even with these stones, now that I have these molds and I know how to make them, I was like, you know what? I could make these molds and then make the stones more, put them in my satchel, and have a bunch of different treasure, right? Have a mental note of it all. And then when I go to a convention and I see like a little kid dressed as a Pokemon trainer, be like, hey, I just found this in a some kind of crypt or whatever. I don't know. I'll come up with something. I was exploring the ruins of Alph or the Spear Pillar, and I found this. And then I pull out this. I'm like, can you tell me more about this? I feel like you would know what this is. And then if they get super excited, I'll just give them the stone and be like, here you go. Because I have, again, it's from the extra excess of making this stuff, and I don't want it to go to waste, but I also feel like it would make a whole bunch of people's day, young and old, if I go around at conventions as Indiana Jones with these random like treasures that I found, or I'm like, hey, have you seen what this is? Like, like, can you tell me what this is? And then give those out. I feel like that'd be fun. I feel like dice would be another fun one. You can get dice molds off of Amazon for like super cheap, because I mean, I'm also I rarely, not very often, I run Dungeons and Dragons, but my friends also play, and I know a lot of people that like D&D, so I'm like, having these multi-resin cast dice, I feel like would be super cool. And then trying to maybe find time on the side to make some extra cash. So like that was something else, was like, okay, well, what is something that I could maybe go and design myself, and then make something small and cheap that I could sell, with the excess resin. I could then take it and sell it on Etsy, so that way other people can get a use out of it, but then I can also make some money to fund these films some more. So it's like, I don't know. I have a lot of ideas. I have different ideas. I was thinking Pokemon badge sets would be super cool. Like, making a set of, okay, let's do the Sinnoh region badges, and then we'll make them, I'll 3D print those on my resin printer, make a mold of those, and then with the extra resin from epoxy pours and printing with the UV, I can just, all right, let me pour it in the mold, let that cure. Okay, cool. Oh, I have extra. Pour more until it's full, and then okay, let me pop these out for the badges. Like, I'll go in, I'll paint them. Since I'm into the whole tabletop painting thing, I feel pretty confident I could do a good paint job on that, and then package them up and sell. I don't know. But if any of you are interested in that kind of thing, leave a comment. If you have any suggestions, leave a comment. I'd like to get some ideas going for that. As of the plan next week, so looking at my board, we're definitely doing the silicone pours tomorrow. TJ is gonna come over. I'm gonna call him and make sure he's still down to do it. He's gonna come over tomorrow. I think before work, because he has a closing shift, and me, Grandma, and TJ are all gonna go in the shed, and we're gonna make the silicone portions of the mold. We're gonna get it on camera. Oh, that was the other thing too. I finally, for the first time since getting my camera in like 2018, bought more batteries. So I factored into the budget, so that was always the plan. I think I went $10 over budget because that gave me a third, but it comes in this dock, so they're all actually charged and ready to go. So I have 4 batteries total, because with the shoot being a 2-day shoot, and we're shooting all day for the first one, I was like, I want these at the ready. The moment the battery dies, we're taking it, boom, replacing it. We still have 2 extra ones ready, so when that first one's not done charging, we still have 2. We're ready to go, and we're killing it. So that's something. And then what's going on? Ink slip. Oh yeah, I got rid of my car finally. My Dodge Intrepid, my first lovely car that I bought. Really, to be fair, I did buy my mom's car. She had a Dodge Caliber that I bought from her, but that was giving me so many issues that I ended up getting. We donated that, and I think my parents got a voucher out of it. Yeah, it was kind of weird. So yeah, so even then it was like, yeah, I bought it, but then my parents did the work to get rid of it, so they got to get vouchers to Disneyland. So I was like, okay, still, but I then had $1,200. I went and bought a Dodge Intrepid, and that has lasted me for quite a few years now. But the engine blew, so I had to go get my dream car, which isn't necessarily my dream car. I made a compromise. I've always wanted a camper van to turn into the Mystery Machine. There will be a video on that. That is happening. Will happen. I finally figured out what I want to do to the inside, so now it's just a matter of paying it off, putting extra money aside to convert it in fully into the Mystery Machine, specifically from the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. I know you online critics out there think that it's a bad movie, but guess what? You were wrong. The live-action Scooby-Doo movies, masterpieces. I love them. Anyway, I have a whole Scooby-Doo shelf over here, actually. Like, if I can get it. Hey, camera, follow me. Follow me to the collection. If I can get. You really see it because of all of my how about my Scooby-Doo collection? Not all of it, but most of it. I got two. I actually did get the. I never watched it. I need to sit down and watch it. Obviously, I have the creme de la creme, my favorite Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. My favorite ghost, the pterodactyl ghost. Which, a little ADHD side trip here. I'm currently working on a movie that is completely of my own, from my brain, right? It is a George Lucas original. Haha. Oh, I love the fact that my parents named me that. Thanks, parents. But it's a medieval movie. It's a medieval fantasy, very akin to The Princess Bride and the Labyrinth. I want it to feel like a dark 80s fantasy film. And I want the monsters and bad guys to be scary. I want them to be very, very scary. So, the Necromancer, the evil Lord Zebeloth, does have an army of flying monkeys, called the Terra Guard, which are basically a bunch of pterodactyl people that are very scary. So basically, it's like if you were to take the pterodactyl ghost and give him a set of like leather armor and scraps and give him a bunch of weapons, and then he flies out and comes and attacks you, that's essentially what you get. So one of them will definitely be green and will look very close to the original pterodactyl ghost as a reference to the movie because I love that monster. But yeah, they gave me that thing gave me nightmares as a kid, and I want to give other kids nightmares. But the whole point of the monsters being scary is so that way kids learn that, yes, there are very evil things out there, but you have to have the courage to fight those monsters because at the end of the day, they're monsters and you can't let them win. So that's, yeah, I'm putting a lot of... this movie is going to have, like, all of the things that I feel strongly about are going to be, like, the core message of this movie. So it's going to be a fun one. But it's still in development. It's going to be very expensive to make. I know I want to be as practical as I possibly can. There's going to be a lot of green screen work only because it's like that's the only way I can realistically do this movie with the budgets that I have. However, I do want the castles to be real. Every exterior, if you see a castle or a palace, I want to actually build a small bigature for mean, maybe not for Lord of the Rings status, but like big enough to take 2 collapsible tables, we'll make the giant castle and then film it and then figure out what to do with it after that because I don't have a lot of space. So I'm still trying to figure out that process. There's a lot of work involved. Actually, you're going to see in total, well, you might. Robbie is going to come over. So Robbie's going to come over this week. He's usually my costume guy. We're going to talk about costumes and getting together to do the 3D scanning of the characters. There's 2 shots where one of the stunts is very unrealistic. There's no way you can film it in camera. So we're going to CGI his character, who's a bad guy, and we're going to photo scan him in costume in the backyard, and then rig it and use that. We're also going to do the same thing for my character. But before we do that, we're going to do a costume fitting. Now, part of it is that I want Professor Waddle. There's going to be a couple updates. I'm leaning more into the Indiana Jones aesthetic than I am the Steve Irwin aesthetic, only because it's like Professor Waddle at heart is also an adventurer. He likes to go to places, and so that's kind of where the Steve Irwin leaves and the Indiana Jones comes in. And so that's part of the reason I gave him the hat and the satchel. Because every Pokemon trainer, it's a rule, you have to have some kind of backpack. You have to have a hat and you have to have a backpack. Those are the 2 important things about being a Pokemon trainer. And so he has the hat done. So now the question is the satchel. I think Professor Waddle has learned from his journey that a satchel kind of gets in the way, and for the most part, you have long, quiet stretches before you get to the exciting moments when you're getting to places. Like when he went to the beach. Okay, yeah, if he's going to a beach in the Sinnoh region, obviously, if your funding is coming from Hoenn, you're probably doing a lot of stuff in Hoenn, but you got to find the Pokemon in Sinnoh. So then you either got to fly there, take a boat, right? long stretches. You'll find cool things along the way, but most of the time you gotta have your supplies on you, but you're not gonna use them constantly. So, but also going on my own adventure, let me tell you, which is the real reason. My mom got me this really sick backpack. I got it from, it's the Heroes and Villains Obi-Wan Kenobi themed backpack. I was determined to have a backpack that matched my costume while I was at the con, because when I went as Obi-Wan with my dad back in 2023, because it was my 24th birthday. I was born on February 24th, so I was like, for my 24th I'd like to do something big, and I hadn't really spent one with my dad since I was 9, so I was like, let's go hang out with dad. And we went to Pensacon, but when I went as Obi-Wan, I had this really big red backpack that didn't work. Like, it took away from the whole piece. While wearing it with the cloak also was not helpful. I don't like the pictures that I have with me and the Obi-Wan. And so I was like, okay, well, let's change it up. So I decided to kind of go, okay, well, if I have to have a backpack and it's going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, let's find like a brown leather backpack, because that would go really well. There's a lot of beige, there's a lot of brown. It would be very akin to a lot of early artwork that fans have made of Obi-Wan over the years before Kenobi came out. And even then, like, when you look at Kenobi's back bling in Fortnite, it's very similar to that. Yes, I play Fortnite, get over it. It's a very adventure type of backpack. And so I was like, and I learned with playing Fortnite, you can use that backpack and it works really well on Indiana Jones, Lara Croft, The Mandalorian, any type of adventuring character. So I was like, oh, okay, you know what, getting a strong leather backpack that I could add things to the outside of would really help. And so when I think it was Christmas or my birthday came around, my mom asked for, you know, for my list. She's like, what do you want? And I'm like, okay, well, here's all the stuff in my costuming shopping list. And so she saw the backpack. She's like, why do you need this backpack? I explained it to her, and she's like, oh, that would be great. I will get you that. It was really funny because my mom has now bought me like every version of every backpack I've ever had, which is kind of funny to me, but I digress. But it has a strap on the side of it to hold a lightsaber. I took the map that I've drawn, because I got it on a piece, I drew it on, again, sorry, things branch off in my stories, you're just gonna have to stay along for the ride. There is no small short story with me. They're all the length of Lord of the Rings. You're gonna have to just deal with it. My buddy gave me a vinyl map that's dry erasable for Dungeons & Dragons, but it looks like old parchment. I took that, I drew out the giant map of the land of the Princess and Her Knight, which is the medieval fantasy movie that I'm working on from Scooby-Doo, and I am taking that map, I rolled it up, and I used the strap for the lightsaber hilt to wrap it, so on the outside of the backpack you have a map of something for Professor Waddle, because he does more than just looking for Pokemon. And I'm going to try to sew that into the overall story, even though it's a stupid skit on YouTube about a guy who's just talking about Pokemon because he just loves it. And so that's kind of where, so that's kind of how it all connects, is that I am trying to add things to the outside of the bag and to the costume with every show, to show not only the progression of his character, but also like, here is, you know, he learns things as he's going on these adventures. And like, and especially me, who's also still going on adventures, going to Japan with that backpack. I took that backpack everywhere. All right, I need you to understand that backpack saved my life. One of the things that I love about that backpack, it comes with some netting on the bottom of it. I can roll up my jacket and throw it in that netting, and I still have access to put items in the rest of my backpack. Do you know how handy that was for souvenirs? Do you know how many times I filled that thing up with souvenirs? It got to the point where the last week I was like, I can't fit anything in my suitcase. I need to cool it. But I still kept shoving things in the backpack because my hoodie didn't take up all the backpack anymore. That was really nice. It also has a cover on the top that you can unclip it. It rolls down. It shows the symbol of the Jedi Order, but it protects it from the rain. So when it did actually rain on us, I got to use it, and it actually like helped protect my souvenirs in the rain. I love this backpack, but it's also made it look very in-universe, and it looks like an adventuring backpack. And so that paired with the Indiana Jones hat, which is currently in the shed as well. As I've been finding costume pieces and gear, I've been taking it out of the shed, which is why I can't really show it to you. The only reason I'm showing you these is because they're in the house. Because I mean, again, we don't have electrical in the shed, so we don't have an air conditioner in there to keep it cool all that much. So I didn't want these to unravel in the heat. I'm actually very scared for the stones because resin gets hot. But I don't think these are gonna unravel. I think these will be fine. If anything, I actually, oh, that's what I was gonna do today. I was gonna take the leftover UV resin that I have over here and brush it on these to help fill in the scan lines. I think at one point I gave up on that because I was like, you know what, I'm really tired and I don't want to do that. I'm dealing with a lot this week. But because they're only going to show up on camera. Like, understand that like, in the scene they're going to be resting there until Evie boops one of them with her paw and then evolves, and then all hell breaks loose. You're not really going to be seeing the stones. They just look pretty on the desk. So honestly, the rough parts of the stone, I'll just point away from camera. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It's also a test to see like how well these will do. But anywho, yeah. So the main goal for this week, and looking at my calendar, how many things do I have left to do? Because I've been very distracted this week with work. Work has been god awful. But let me take a look and see where we're at here. Yes, the schedule did came out. I did get the days off. That's not a problem. We are currently resting on the 22nd. Okay, so I have 2 full weeks to get everything done. I know I got the Etsy items done. Let me delete that off my calendar. Bought those. That's on its way. I had to buy a certain costume piece for a certain bad guy. So that is coming. But what's left on the gear list? I have a whole production board. Okay. I still need to get the green screen stand. I still need to purchase a lav mic. I need to make the Ultra Ball. I originally was 3D printing it, but unfortunately, I have not. Number one, I haven't found the first Pokeball that we made, because I did 3D print a Pokeball for the first one. The Pokeball you see me pick up in the Torterra scene. I did 3D print that. I painted that. I have no problem taking it and repainting it for an Ultra Ball. However, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. I haven't found any of my old Pokemon toys, because I did have old Pokeballs, the ones where it had the little elastic string, and then so you would throw it, and then the string would pull the lever, and then or the little thing, and then it would spring open, and the plushie would come out. I miss those. Pokemon merchandise team, can you please bring those back? I will literally collect them all because I like the Pokeballs, but I feel like those were actual accurate sizes to the Pokeball, and I'll prove it if I find it. My cousin has the special Pokeball collectible that's $100, which, why is it $100? But ultimately, what I would really like to do is I would like to take one of those old toys and cut off the lever piece. I know, it sounds terrible. Cut off the lever piece, sand down the hinges, and then really craft it to be a perfect Pokeball. Make a silicone mold of it. I'd like to make rubber ones. So then that way you can actually throw these things for stunts, because they're Pokeballs. You have to throw them at Pokemon. It makes sense to throw the ball. I'm thinking too much, but besides the point. I need to figure out the Ultra Ball. I got rid of the Intrepids. That's good to go. I need to go get a camera light for the camera for the 2 evening scenes, which I can buy at my local store for, I think, like $30. I think that was that was right there. Got it on my spreadsheet. Gosh, I gotta make a potion. That's right. I did, although I found these really cool spray bottles at work. We just got them in. I don't know if they have a spot yet, but they're cleaners, like keyboard cleaners, or I think screen cleaners. But it's already in a purple spray bottle, and it looks kind of sci-fi. So I think I'm gonna get that and slap a Pokeball sticker on it, call it a day. Escape rope. We have plenty of rope. That's fine. Revives. Why do I have $7 on here? Why did I think it was gonna cost $7? What was my plan with that? I don't remember what my plan was for the revives. I'll have to go back and look at that. I need to go buy a morph suit. I did find somebody to play our digital Pokemon, our more humanoid Pokemon. My sister's fiance is going to be playing the role, so I do need to get a hold of him and get his size to get the right morph suit for him. We have an air mattress. We're gonna talk to Robbie about making a plush. So there is a Pokemon that I'll be holding. I have its weight. I have its dimensions. The idea is to make a green plush where the head is the right size, the body is the right size. Not really caring about the arms and legs right now, but it needs to be the right weight. So it looks like I'm really holding a Pokemon, but it also allows me to have a reference of, oh, this is how my shirt's interacting with it or wrapping around this part of the Pokemon. So I need to make sure that that's properly rotoscoped and properly animated. So that's one of the key things that I'm trying to do is make me interact with them a little bit more in a more natural way. Need to buy the bad guy shirt, which Robbie gave me a shirt size, so I can do that. Already bought the headpiece to it. Need to go get picnic supplies, but honestly, I think we can get away with a lot of that stuff. Working on the stones right now. I do need to go buy 2 more lab coats, so I do need to get a hold of the 2 people playing the lab assistants and get their lab coats. I need to go buy a net. I have a leaf blower, and I bought the camera batteries, so we're pretty. A lot of the stuff is just buying buying it. I built the reference rail for the boat scene because there will be a scene where we're on a boat. I bought green spray paint for it, so I need to actually go out there and spray paint it. It's just a lot of prop design, really. Just getting the props together, adding the finishing touches, collecting it all. All of the digital work can be done after the shoot date, which I gave myself. This is the original schedule, okay? You ready for this? This is where, and obviously it's not happening because things just happen, right? I was gonna model the stones within 3 hours, which I did. I modeled that within 2. Hydrate the 3D filament, which I didn't have to do, honestly. Like, my filament's fine, even though it's a year old. It's been sitting right in that same spot for over a year. The last thing I 3D printed for this, with this printer, was a Scooby-Doo dog tag for my dog that he wears all the time, and it's never broken off, so I've never needed to 3D print a new one, and that's why I bought the blue filament. That's why these are blue. Is because I 3D printed him a blue dog tag. Anyway. Build the rail for the boat, which I did. I did that in a reasonable amount of time. Find the location for a lab. That didn't really work. And then order the materials. I did everything but build the railboat in that one day. I built the railboat on a different day. Day 2 was to, wow, what? Yeah, I was gonna 3D print. You know what it is? I thought these were gonna print a lot faster. That's where I made my miscalculation. So these actually took, the Firestone, I think it was 22 hours. 22 hours for this one. I adjusted some settings. I made it go 5 milliseconds, 5 millimeters a second faster than previously. So it was at 45, I put it down to 40. And then I lowered the infill. So this has an infill of 10%. This has an infill of 5%. That brought it down to 20 hours. And then the Thunderstone was supposed to be 17 hours. I didn't take that into consideration. No, I thought these were going to print. I was like, oh, these are small enough. It'll be fine. I'm an idiot. So, that didn't happen. So that's what took most of the week. Day 2 is the silicone molds, which granted that should be reasonably fast. 3D print the Ultra Ball, which again should be done within the day. And then I paint it, which I was going to give an hour to it, but honestly, I could probably get it done faster than that. And then day 3 was the epoxy pours. And then putting all of the costume stuff together for Professor Waddle and doing the 3D scan, and then 3D scanning the bad guy. Obviously, I haven't done that yet. So, my hope is that Robbie comes over on Friday. So the costume fitting will happen on Friday, which means the following week is probably when we're going to get the costumes done. And then photo scan them either Thursday or Friday. Because he's going to play the role of the bad guy. So he's going to... So I have to do it on a Thursday or Friday, and then I have to get a third person. No, I don't have to get a third person. I could do it. Never mind. And then day 4 is supposed to be the all-day shoot. Day 5 is the second day of shooting, and then I was gonna give myself, I think, 4 weeks to do the post-production VFX work. Obviously, pre-production taking a lot longer. I'm taking that into account as we go forward. I'm also keeping very good track of how much we've spent. So I can tell you right now, and because I believe in transparency, this is a long one. I apologize. This is because how long have we been recording already? 34 minutes? Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys. I can tell you right now that we have spent $199.83 on just this one film, on this one sketch. Most of it, looking at it, is prop supplies. Like, these stones are what's costing the most. However, the most expensive item on the list is actually the camera batteries at $35.99. I'm like, and I'm cutting corners too. Like, when it comes to like the Pokeball, like, I'm gonna look for whatever I got around the house to turn it into an Ultra Ball, right? I did find this. Where did I find it? Found this looking for the Pokeball. It's a rubber ball. It's a little deflated, but I'm sure we have a needle to fill it up. I'll just paint this if I have to. Like, I'll paint this. It'll be fine. No big deal. If it's that bad, I can replace it with CGI, even though we don't want to do the fix it in post mentality, although I do want that shirt. Yeah, so it's a process. It's a process, but we're doing it. We're doing it. And, it's happening. It is happening. I'm excited. If push comes to shove, I'll use my credit card to fund the rest of this. But I definitely enjoy this. This is a lot of fun. Please support us on Patreon. If we can get some more support before July 5th. July 5th is when we get charged again. Or not charged, but like we get paid out. So we make $40 a month currently. Patreon pays us out on the 5th, so if we can get a bunch of people to donate now, before then, on the 5th is when we get all those funds, and then we can be able to pay for more stuff. Granted, the shoot day is on the 8th, so when I need the money, really, it's way before that, but it's not a big deal. But we'll definitely put it aside for the next one, which will be cool. Yeah. I think that's it. A lot of it is just, yeah, a lot of what's left is I have to purchase the items left. We have all the supplies to do the thing right now. It's just we have to go do it. And we got to film the process. So that's kind of what takes it a while. Is that everybody here has a day job minus Grandma. She's retired. We love that. But there's also that. Also, if we can get a bunch of people to comment this, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're gonna cheat the system a little bit. Grandma really likes Harry Potter. And if you like Lego and you like Harry Potter, I know it's a Pokemon video. Why would I be bringing those things up? Grandma's really fun when we can get her to play video games. I want to do a video on the gaming channel where me and her play Lego Harry Potter. I have the 2-pack on the Switch. I have all the controllers. I have the stuff to do it. And with the lav mic, if I can hook up the lav mic to the computer, I'll use this. She can clip that on, and then she can clip on the lav mic, and then you guys are gonna get a whole new world. But the only way this works is if you comment it. So if you want to see it, comment Lego Grandma, and we'll do it. Very simple. And I think that's it. So everyone have a good Sunday. I hope you're all doing well. Sorry for the lateness of the status report. Sorry for the length of said status report, but we got a lot done. Next week I'll give you more of an update on where we're at and some stuff. If you got any questions, comment down below. I will talk to you guys later.